My name is Shahira Nazira binti Muhammad Nasli and ID is 281741. I will explain further on the introduction part. For this study, we have created and managed a portfolio of 3 stocks in the same industry. We use top-down approach to security analysis. The security analysis includes of economic analysis, industry analysis, fundamental analysis, and technical analysis. The chosen company stocks are Malayan Banking Berhad, Maybank, CIMB Group Holdings Berhad CIMB, and Alliance Bank Malaysia Berhad ABMB. These companies are under the listed financial services sector on Bursa Malaysia. First off, Maybank is the leading company in the banking sector in Malaysia. Maybank holds the largest market capitalization in Malaysia and owns a total assets of 693 billion ringgit. Therefore, Maybank is among the top 5 biggest banks in Southeast Asia, along with CIMB. CIMB Group Holdings Berhad is a dominant universal bank in the Southeast Asia region and a leading company in Islamic finance. As at 30 September 2021, CIMB has a market capitalization of 47 billion ringgit and a total assets of 627 billion ringgit. Lastly, ABMB is one of the most innovative banks in Malaysia. It was ranked in the top 30 Malaysia's most valuable brands. ABMB has a 5 billion ringgit market capitalization with a total assets of 60 billion ringgit as at 31st March 2021.
Hello doctor, I'm Madhuri. My matrix number is 271509. I'll be presenting the economic and industry analysis. The COVID-19 outbreak caused Malaysia's economy into a state of recession. According to a study by the Department of Statistics Malaysia, GDP in Malaysia has decreased by 2.7% in the third quarter of 2020. This state of economy has a huge impact on our stock market. So, Malaysia has used fiscal and monetary policies to recover from the recession. To begin with, government spending and taxation are used to resolve the problem under fiscal policy. The overnight policy rate and the statutory requirement ratio are two monetary policies used by Malaysia to combat the recession. Next, I'll briefly talk about the industry analysis. To begin with, Maybank is Malaysia's largest financial services company with a significant presence throughout Asian countries. In 2000, Maybank introduced Maybank to You, an online banking application in Malaysia. Second is CIMB Bank. It has competitive advantages in terms of technological advancement, innovation, product service offerings, and also reputation. It is evidenced by the fact that it won 5 awards at the 2016 Malaysian E-Payments Excellence Awards. And lastly, Alliance Bank. Alliance Bank continues to grow its alliances and digital channels in the consumer market in order to accelerate acquisition. Alliance Bank shares were up to 3 cents or RM 1.09% to RM 2.78, giving the bank a market capitalization of 4.3 billion. That's all for this part. Thank you, doctor.
Fundamental analysis is divided into 6 ratios. In Table 1, Alliance Bank has the lowest current ratio, so they don't have capital on hand or to make its short-term obligation if they were all due at once. Maybank Berhad has the highest current ratio for 2 years, so they have financial resources to remain solvent in the short term. Next, asset turnover in 2019, Maybank Berhad has the highest asset turnover ratio, so they generate revenue from its asset at the most efficient based on Table 2. CIMB Bank has the lowest asset turnover in 2018, so they are not efficiently using its asset to generate sales. For activity ratio, Maybank Berhad has the lowest receivable turnover ratio for 3 years in Table 3, so it could be a result of the inefficient collection or creditworthy customers. Alliance Bank has the highest receivable turnover ratio, as their collection of accounts receivable is the most efficient. Next, for the payable turnover ratio in Table 4, Maybank Berhad has the highest payable turnover in the 3 years, so they are quicker to pay its debt. Alliance Bank has a lower payable turnover ratio than CIMB Bank in 2018 and 2019, so they are taking longer to pay off its supplier than in the previous period. Next, from Table 5, Alliance Bank has the highest fixed asset turnover ratio than others, so the management is using its fixed asset more effectively. It indicates that Alliance Bank is the most efficient in managing fixed asset investment than other companies.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Hafiz. Today I'm going to presenting about the leverage ratio. Firstly, security multiplier. Based on the table shows in 2020, Maybank Berhad can manage the debt to use to generate the return and to meet the financial obligation comparing CIMB and Alliance Bank. Next is the debt to equity ratio. Based on the table show is 2020, Maybank Berhad is less risky than both company because both companies show the increasing value. Lower debt equity ratio are preferable since they indicates a lower risk. Next is debt to asset ratio. A company shows the average value of the ratio. It shows the company are very committed in managing the business. Next is debt to equity ratio. The decreasing pattern for the Maybank from the previous indicate that company shareholder are giving full commitment into the company performance by increasing the equity and reducing the external debt. Next is the profitability ratio. Firstly is ROA. Is used to measure the business using the asset to generate net income with the available asset. Based on the table shows that in 2020 we can summarize all the companies ROA value are low compared to the previous years. Next is ROE. Based on the table shows that the all company value of ROE is low compared to previous years and show that the performance of company in 2020 is not good. Net profit margin. Net profit margin determine how much each ringgit is revenue collected by the company translated into the profit and net income. Based on the table shows that in 2020 the company may need to upgrade their sales, especially CIMB Bank, because the difference between in 2020 compared to 2019 and 2018 is huge.
A very good day to the doctor. My name is Group3 and matrix number is 27036. So I'm continuing with the part of common stock ratio and starting by the earning per share ratio. EPS is a portion of the profit that the company allocates to their shareholders for every outstanding shares, and higher EPS is always better than the lower ratio because this means the company is more profitable and the company has more profit to distribute to its shareholders. So looking toward the table, there are 3 companies shows a negative trend from 2018 until 2020 due to the pandemic of COVID-19. This means that most companies are facing a terrible situation since the EPS have fallen by such a large portion. And the second part is the price to the earning ratio. It is a common stock ratio that measures the company current shares price relative to its per share earnings. And according to the table, PE of these 3 companies in the past 3 years were showing in a good condition, especially the shares of CIMB Bank, which achieved as higher as 35.83 in the year of 2020. That implies the company's stock is overvalued and the investor have a higher expectation for its future growth. For the third, which is the intrinsic value, according to the table, the sales growth performance of the Maybank and the Alliance Bank is in the positive trend, while CIMB Bank is in the negative trend, which implies CIMB Bank is likely to face losses in these years. An intrinsic value table provides an overall and a clearer view of the company performance to help determine the worth and the value of the assets. And for the last, which is a forecasting table, it is by comparing these 3 companies, we find that the Maybank financial performance is more stable than the 2 other banks in various aspects, as Maybank's overall financial performance is showing a steady growth rate. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Adiba Shaira and my matrix number is 268126 for technical analysis that have 4, which is MACD, RSI, MAN, supports and resistance. As for MACD, we can see that the 3 companies stock is doing well. The value of both line will keep going up. The best 2 stock for the investor to purchase is Maybank and CIMB Bank, since it is demonstrated that the price will increase later on. Okay, next for RSI, which we can see that Maybank cost is going up on 28 December to reaching 70%, but then the cost goes down after oversold occur. It is preferred that when the graph accomplish 50%, the cost will be more steady for the investor to purchase the stock. It is suggested the investor to buy the CIMB Bank stock as it is a good price. For Alliance Bank, they face an overbought and oversold of stock, so it should be put on hold. Okay, for MA, an estimation used to examine informative element by making a progression of midpoint of various subsets of the full information in our collections. MA for Maybank, CIMB Bank, and Alliance Bank has been varied since 19 November 2021. It is suggested for investor to purchase the stock as the price is increasing and in a good performance. For support and resistance, Maybank faced a lot of dropping cost of stock at the beginning of the price. When the market is going down, investor will search for a succession of dropping peaks and attempt to associate them with a pattern line. It is suggested to hold the stock. For CIMB, the pattern is upturn at the point when the cost or stock drops, interest for the offer will expand, that framing to the support lines, while resistance emerge because of the selling interest when the cost increase. For Alliance Bank, the pattern line keeps on increasing. For this situation, utilizing the upswing line as a sign of a higher expected move will result in a truly profitable investment or trade.
My name is Shaira Nazira binti Muhammad Nazli and ID is 281741. For the conclusion part, we can summarize that the security analysis of Maybank, CIMB, and APMB are performed. It can be seen from the economic analysis that the COVID-19 virus has impacted the economic situation badly. Hence, Bank Negara reduced the OPR rate to encourage borrowing. Despite the recession, these 3 banks gain many recognitions for their products and services. Also, for the fundamental analysis, liquidity ratios, activity ratios, and leverage ratio, profitability ratio, common stock ratio, and intrinsic value forecasting are computed. Lastly, technical analysis is performed to identify the 3 banks' MACD, relative strength index, moving average, and support and resistance. So that's all.